going for 5 each side. So today in the morning, I did some kettlebell juggling and steel mace stuff at a park. Um, didn't record any of it, uh, but did that for about an hour. But now, going into, I guess, some push pull. Uh, I'm thinking I'm gonna do, like I said this yesterday too, some bodybuilding style exercises. But at least, today I don't feel like doing the sled because I did a lot of sled over the past 2 days. And I've gotten my kettlebell juggling out of the way this morning. So the likelihood that I stick to a bodybuilding style workout right now is much more likely than it was yesterday. So anyway, uh, and I'm sure some of what I do is still not going to be traditional bodybuilding esque. But yeah, for the first exercise, going to do cable flies in a seated position, and I'll talk about some, um, I guess, particulars with the way I'm doing it at this uh, in this movement. So I'm leaning back and having the cables angled such a way that it's coming like from above chest level. This forces the lower pecs and the outer pecs to stay more activated while performing this movement. And the goal that I have right now, at least for this set of flies, is to hit the lower and outer pec. I'm gonna go for 7 together. Really letting the cable pull my arms out and getting a full stretch of the chest. Big breaths too to expand the chest and push the chest out. After about 7 together, I'm gonna do 7 alternate to focus on the contractions unilaterally. Going for 7 each hand. Ah. After that, facing the cables and moving into some back. So with back, I'm going to start off with 7 alternating rows, arms outstretched. Looks like this. If you bring the cables up to around chest level, you'll get more mid-back. If you're trying to target more lower, you can try to bring the cables a little lower. Although I'm trying to target my mid-back mostly. After 7+ reps, I think I got 9. I'm gonna do 8 to 10 together. Then gonna hold it in and do 8 alternate. But while holding it in. That's the difference between the one what I was doing in the beginning and at the end. Gonna end with waiter hold chest presses. So a waiter hold is when one hand holds the handle portion and then the other hand's holding like the weight portion. Going for 5 each side. I like the waiter hold press to focus on my chest unilaterally, and also the dumbbells are just too far from this cable machine. But yeah, I'm gonna do these 3 exercises back to back as a triset for 4 sets, and then going to move on to something else. So for the next exercise, I've moved the level of the cable down such that when I'm laying on the bench, it's the angle is from bottom up instead of top down like it was in the previous exercise. So this brings it more at a press angle, and I'm letting my arms be in the bottom position the entire time. So I'm letting my chest remain in the stretch position. Usually when doing alternate presses, what I've noticed is that most people do straight up contraction, hold it, and then alternate. I'm going for more of a range of motion and stretch feel today. So I'm choosing to start the movement in the stretch position. And I'm going to do alternate 10 presses. So 1, really taking a good moment both at the top and the bottom to feel the stretch and the contraction, making sure that every muscle fiber is getting activated properly, and I'm utilizing just the muscles I want to use while pressing the cable. After 10 each side of that, doing alternate one arm rows with the kettlebell. So having one knee and my hand on the bench to support, so that I can focus on the just the kettlebell. And I'm going to use the kettlebell to do a one arm row. Trying not to use momentum, just good stretch and good complete contractions. Switching sides after 8. Another little thing that I'm doing while I do the rows is I start my hand in a, I don't know, is this pronated position? Then I'm ending kind of in a hammer grip. That little bit of twist gives just a little bit of an additional stretch and contraction in the lats, which I think goes a long way over time in giving a good back. Anyway, I'm gonna do this for another. So I've done 2 sets so far. Gonna do 2 more, and then move into something else. So moving into some vertical pulls. So the previous 2 movements that I did for the back were rows. So now I want to hit the vertical pull aspect of the back. So having the cables positioned high, and I'm going to sit on the floor and I guess spread my legs to use these things as support to keep me on the floor. I'm going to lean forward to get a full stretch. So as opposed to being here, the stretch that you get in your back is a lot different than if you do this. Now there is something to be said for maybe you just want to isolate the back through the range of motion that's just over here. So if that's the case, then you don't have to do that extra lean. But the reason I like to lean is it stretches the lats in such a way that the whole back gets activated, and I think that is really good for that look where the lats connect into the waist. Anyway, so for the movement, doing one arm at a time and going for 10 each hand. I like using this cable machine because it has individual weight stacks and individual handles, so I can make sure that the amount of weight that's distributed between either side is equal, and also it allows me to get a much deeper stretch. Some different cable machines seem like, I don't know, the tension seems a little off. This one feels just smooth enough, or just the right kind of smooth. Anyway, so supersetting that with so heavy cable chest. So where the previous movement I had my arms like starting in the stretched position, here now I'm having it in the outward isometric position, a contracted position, and then going to alternate from here. So I love using the cables for chest. I get the best mind muscle contraction when it comes to chest with cables. I'm going for 10 each side. That was my second set. I'm gonna do 2 more sets and then move into some abs. So moving into some abs. Starting off with offset loaded sit-ups. Looks like this. So in that exercise, with the weight offset, there's compensation mechanisms at play to balance your body while you're doing the sit-up. Then on top of that, I do the twist at the end, which engages the obliques. So at the end of doing 5 each side, you should feel a really good burn throughout your abs. And yeah, give it a shot. I'm gonna do 4 sets of this.